What's up, guys? So this video is going to be how to succeed on Nofap. So some seriously beneficial tips here, probably things you might have not heard before. So I definitely take these on board and see if they work for you. So let's get straight into the video. All right, so how to succeed on Nofap. Before you do anything else, you can't build your house on poor foundations. You really need to determine and figure out and get really clear on your why. Okay, so your why is, why do you want to do this? Why do you want to do Nofap? Ask yourself that question. And it's not so much on a logical level. A lot of people are like, well, I want to be more confident and XYZ because you watched a video, etc., etc. But that's not really what's going to, like in terms of on a long-term basis, that's not what you're going to keep coming back to keep you focused, keep you on track. So when it comes to your why, you really want to feel it like in your heart, like, why do I want to do this? And typically the reason in life we move away from pain and towards pleasure. So you being in the situation you're in now, watching porn, etc., that's causing pain, and you recognize or at least see the potential that doing this will actually get you out of that pain and bring you closer towards pleasure, right? Or closer towards improving your life. So getting absolutely clear on that why. And it doesn't even have to be verbal. You just need to feel it, right? You need to feel that why, like, okay, I want to do this because I just want to be better. Like, I want to be that guy. I want to be the kid. I want to be the kid or the guy that I'm supposed to be. I want to live up to my potential. I want to be more focused. I want to be more disciplined. And I don't want to have to like feel awkward around people. I want to be proud of who I am and confident, etc. So establishing that why is absolutely crucial. And you need to just get clear on that. And every time you want to give up, every time you think about quitting, you can use that why as your reference, remembering your why, remember why you started. So that's the one thing you can do to help. But that's one of the first things you've got to do. Get super clear on that why. Why do you want to do this? And why is that going to benefit you? Why is that going to have a knock-on effect that's positive? And when you've got this why, you then basically get the how. So the next thing you want to make sure you're doing is avoiding triggers, cutting out triggers, things that are going to trigger these neural pathways. So if you're on Instagram and you've got a bunch of girls on there, just not interested, unfollow, block, whatever you have to do to keep the triggers, things that are going to set you off, to keep them out of your awareness, to keep them, you don't want to be being triggered by certain things. So that could be music, that could be the people you hang around with. If you're hanging around with guys that are like, yo, check out her, look at this girl, look at that girl, it's going to put you in a sexual and lustful mentality, which of us is going to cause you to go into your old ways. And surrounding yourself with people that aren't on the same level will drag you down, right? So yeah, avoiding your triggers. Music, as I said, certain types of music, there's certain words and things, a lot of rap music has a lot of sexualization. So that can cause you to start thinking in a sexual mindset. And it may be like you listen, I don't know why I did that. You may be like listening to the music, it might say something, you might not think anything of it, maybe you're at the gym, but it's almost like it's planting a seed in your mind, which later then comes up. The subconscious mind picks it up and it can cause you to want to relapse. So avoiding your triggers, even like your environment. So say if in the morning, you typically wake up and that's where you relapse, so to say. You need to change the way you get up in the morning. I'll go more into when we get to environment. So next one will be transmuting sexual energy, right? This sounds really like mystical and some voodoo new age shit. It's not that complicated. It simply means you've got a bunch of energy, and this energy is like a sexual energy. It's powerful, and you're simply just putting it into something else. Rather than it being put into sex or porn, you're putting it into something else, right? And this is extremely important. And to be fair, I probably should have added it on, but the way you do this successfully is you don't just put it into anything. Being busy isn't necessarily good. Like doing stuff just to keep busy, you want something that actually is moving you forward, something that's like got purpose. So transmuting your sexual energy, you want to find your purpose, what you're putting that sexual energy, that drive, that power into. So for me, a big one is my content, my things I'm creating, right? Because what is it when you actually bust a nut, right? You're ejaculating and it's semen. And what does semen do? It goes to create a life, to create another life. men, we are creators, you know, that's what we do. We've always been creators. Think of all the cities we've built, etc. So if you're not going to be creating a baby, or at least tricking your body into thinking you're doing that, then you need to create something else. And that's going to be what you're building. What are you offering? What are you serving the world with? What's your purpose? What's your passion, you know? So for me, obviously, it's my content. It's what I do with even this video right now. This is me right now transmuting my sexual energy. It's pretty powerful. And also what you'll find is that sexual energy, when you're transferring it into something like this, you get a sense of fulfillment. You get you're full, you're happy, you're fulfilled, right? Whereas with porn, you don't feel that fulfillment. You actually feel, because you're letting it go and wasting it, you feel empty. You feel a void. Rather, when you keep it in you, you feel full. Probably why fulfillment is the word they use. So that's the key. So when it comes to transmuting sexual energy, you just need to keep doing this. So every time you get an urge, we'll get into the urges in a bit, but when you just want to be putting your energy into your purpose on a daily basis, and planning your day, you know, have a plan for what you're going to do throughout the day. And that way you're making sure you're not putting yourself in positions where you're going to feel like you want to relapse. So you only need to do this for about a month until you get much better at this. But yeah, so that's transmuting sexual energy. So the gym is a big one. There's many other things, but you'll find that when you do this, you have more energy, more time, and you just want to do something, right? You can't just sit and do nothing. Well, Nofap really just creates this it's like giving someone a load of money. Like, now they've got to spend it. They've got so many options to spend it on. So you just need to do that. Spend your energy and use it wisely, use it intelligently, strategically, to move your forward life in a positive way. Next one is mindset shift, right? Mindset shift is huge. A lot of guys, their mindset is really bizarre. For example, like if they relapse, they hate themselves, they get annoyed at themselves, they feel guilty, right? So for example, guilt isn't necessarily bad, but it's when it becomes unhealthy guilt, which we associate with shame. What we want is a healthy guilt where, okay, I made a mistake, but I'm going to fix it, I'm going to repair it, I'm going to move forward from it. And this is the mindset you need to have, right? People look at Nofap as this like numbers game where it's like, I hit a 30-day streak and then I relapse. Oh, the game's over. But that's such a very restricted way of looking at this journey. Now, this is a huge tip I'm about to give you. So you need to view Nofap as nothing to do with the numbers, and it's a score-based system where if you've relapsed once, you've restart. That's not how you look at it. You look at it on a bigger, you extrapolate it. So it's like a year, 365 days, okay? Because you got to think about it. Like if you looked at, say you did what sounds, right, for example, what sounds good to people is, okay, I've done 90 days of Nofap versus I've done 30 days of Nofap. But someone could have done 90 days of Nofap and then relapsed 7 times the week after, and now has gone back into their old ways. Whereas another guy could have done 30 days, but he could have done 30 days 3 times. So it came to 90 days, but he only came 3 times, right? So my point is, you need to extrapolate it and look at your Nofap journey from 365 days and think, how many days in that year did I relapse? And relapse, that word is a bad word because it makes it sound a lot worse than it is. This is what I work with my clients. It's interesting, but you don't want to think of it as relapse. You want to use the word slip up. Slip up's a better thing because it's just like, oh, okay, I let, my cup is full, I spilt a little bit over, but it's still got a lot in it. It's where people make a mistake and they end up tipping the whole cup out, and then they have to refill it again completely. And this is slowing them down, and it's going to halt their progress. So that mindset shift is one of the ways you've got to do it. Look at it. Look at it as a game of football. Every day you fap, it's 1-0 to the opposing team. Every day you don't fap, it's 1-0 to you. So you just got to look at it as a game of football. You just got to score more goals than they do, and you've won. And it's pretty big. Like, you're going to win that game eventually pretty easily. So that mindset shift really helps. Otherwise, you do end up beating yourself up. You do end up getting yourself down. And the second mindset shift is, you actually have to ask yourself, am I actually ready to let this go? Like, genuinely, am I ready to let this go and be okay with never looking at this again? And if you're not genuinely ready and you can't actually feel that, like, I'm ready to put this behind me and I'm mature enough and I'm old enough to just go, you know what? I don't need porn anymore. Like, I don't need to look at this. I'm ready to, like, improve my life and not have to carry these negative emotions and this shame. So once you have that mindset of like, I'm actually ready, and I view myself as someone who doesn't watch porn and masturbate, and you identify with that, that is when you'll find that there is a big shift in your mindset. So if you combine those two things, that identity with someone who doesn't watch porn, and combining it with that mentality of like, it's a marathon, you're going to slip up, you're going to make mistakes. The one analogy I use with my clients is, you're a boxer in a boxing match. When you're doing Nofap, you're in the fight, right? And when you relapse, it's like the opponent's landed an uppercut on your belly, right? But if you know anything about boxing, you'll know if you didn't get knocked out, if you get knocked out cold, then it's the end of the fight. But if you get hit in the body and you take a knee, right? What happens? The referee, he gives you a 10-second count to show him that you're okay and you can keep fighting. Okay? You got that. Nofap's no different. If you get hit if you get that shot and you have to go down, you have that relapse, and you stay down for too long, you lose. You've regressed. You've gone back into your old ways, and that's you losing. But if you get up, you continue fighting, and you put up a good fight, you can still win the fight. If anything, that's fine. It's gonna happen. Like, it's gonna happen. It's bound to happen. So that's a good tip that I think helps a lot of guys. And when you start looking at it like that, it changes your mentality. And it doesn't, you don't have the same guilt or the same kind of like self-hatred that a lot of guys have when they do this journey, right? It's not about numbers. It's about your identity. It's about, semen retention. It's about just getting rid of porn. Porn is the main thing. And that's another thing I'll say, like, just get rid of porn. Don't look at anything else. If you're going to relapse and it's going to happen, just avoid the porn. Like, okay, use your imagination if you have to. That helps a lot too. And you'll notice that when you do that, you don't feel that same level of shame. So I'll give you some cool tips. Breathing technique. The breathing technique, a lot of guys, they get an urge and they want to change with their logic. They want to change. They want to think, right, don't fap, don't fap, don't fap, don't fap, don't fap, don't fap, don't fap. You cannot change emotion with logic, only through action. You cannot change emotion through logic, only through action. So if you're trying to think your way out of a problem, it's never going to work. You need to take action. You need to do something that's going to change the way your body feels. Emotion is energy in motion. So you need to actually do something to shift that. So the way you do it, this is a cool tip. What you can do is you can basically just breathe through your nose. It sounds weird, but genuinely, you get that urge. If you just sit there, start almost a meditation. Start focusing on your breath. And feel the air coming in, feel the air coming out. But focus mainly here. Don't think about your belly or anything. Focus mainly on that breath. Take a deep breath. And with those breaths, you want to be almost imagining all that energy that you feel built up, because you feel this big build up down here. It's like, oh my God, it's uncontrollable. And just imagine that energy releasing and just making its way up your body, right? Just flowing through your body. Sounds like some new age shit. Maybe it is, but all I know is that that's a technique that I've been using. Well, I don't use it anymore, but it's a technique that I used once upon a time that really helped me, really just helped me to get rid of that urge. It doesn't completely get rid of it. What it does, it takes away that intensity, that hotness, where it's almost overpowering. So that's another tip. And the last three I'm going to go through quickly. So food. If you're eating a lot of processed food, a lot of junk food, a lot of crap, this is going to bring on lustful feelings, believe it or not. So you want to be consuming very clean diet when you're doing Nofap. It's a key component. That another thing you can do is, like, when you get a lot of urges, start consuming a lot of fruit. Why this works, I couldn't exactly tell you the science behind it, but the way I see it and from my experience, it's kind of to do with the vibration of the food, because it's a very light food. It doesn't bring on very sexual or lustful feelings. So if you are experiencing that, make sure you're just incorporating a lot of fruit into your diet. You're going to find you feel a lot better. Environment, as I mentioned, so say you're asleep, right? You wake up every morning, you sit on your phone, you end up looking at something, and then you're there, you think, oh, okay, cool. Put your phone downstairs, put an alarm clock by the side of your bed, so that you turn that alarm clock on, and you don't really have a motivation to just sit in bed on your phone. And this is going to prevent you from just wanting to relapse, right? So that's one tip. And environment, yeah, like I said, if you're at home and you start feeling those urges, idle mind is the devil's playground. Like, if you're just sat around, you're more likely to go and relapse. So get up, go for a walk, get yourself out the house, because we don't do these things. We do these things in the dark. We don't do any of these things in the light. These things we do it in our privacy. So you have to ask yourself, can I do everything I do in my life? Can I do it in the light? That's how you know that you're pure, basically. So you want to basically, yeah, get up, go for a walk, get yourself out there, because you wouldn't do any of these things in public, would you? Finally, accountability. This is huge. Accountability adds a whole new level to this whole thing. So for example, for me, when I first did this many years ago, I just made videos on YouTube, which you guys probably have watched, right? That just kept me accountable, because I had people that were like supporting me, and like I felt like I had to answer to them. So that helped. Obviously, I've got a group chat. So if you want that group chat, go follow me on Instagram, shoot me a DM and I'll add you in. But accountability is huge. And if you can get the guys around you, or surround yourself with guys that practice Nofap, you want to basically, yeah, be holding yourself accountable in some kind of way. And yeah, these are my tips. So I actually quite enjoyed making this video, and I feel like I genuinely believe this video is going to help a lot of people. So if you did watch this and if you do think some of these tips are helpful, I'd appreciate you just giving it a like, putting a comment. That would be really kind of you. But yeah, those are my tips, and I appreciate everyone watching. And if you have any questions, go ahead and put in a comment, or you can DM me on my Instagram. And that's it for this video. So I hope you enjoyed. Cheers.